Playoffs? Playoffs?
Sure sign that intelligent life exists outside of us is they have not tried to contact us.
What New Year's resolution?
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
All right. Welcome into the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. And as we get ready for the first playoff game for the Chargers in a year, which we're looking for their first playoff win. 2019. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2017 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Kenjon Barner in the middle, brought to you by the Oregon Ducks in Hot Atlanta, getting ready to cover that. But in the meantime, we're going to talk Chargers, 10 years in the league, 3 rings, and Jim Daniels covered sports in LA, still covering sports in LA, dating back to 2001, also at NBC Sports Radio, where we work together. Today's episode brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Well, I heard someone today say all the favorites are winning. Chargers are a 3.5-point dog. That comment immediately got pushback, of course, because that's nearly impossible. But this was one of the games that was mentioned in the pushback, that this Patriots team has not faced a top 10 defense all season long. Chargers are a top 5 defense. Let's be honest, the Patriots have faced a bunch of patsies all season long.
I like what you did there. I like what you did there, Pete.
They've pushed over a bunch of also-rans. Yes, they won. They played the teams that were in front of them on their schedule and won a lot of games, 12, I think, to be specific. But the Chargers are a different team, at least when it comes to their offensive and defensive prowess. So when you look at this game, how big a factor, KB, will this defense be for the Chargers?
It'll be the biggest factor outside of Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
If this defense comes to play, if this defense shows up, if this defense does what it has done in spots throughout this season but does it consistently, it's going to be an ugly day for the New England Patriots. When you talk about the New England Patriots not having played anyone inside the top 10, I think that's telling, right? Now, like you said, you are to play who's on your schedule. And one thing a good team does is they take care of the teams that they're supposed to take care of, and that's exactly what the New England Patriots have done. But I'm going to go to college, and then I'm going to come back to the NFL. I just last week, the Oregon Ducks played Texas Tech, a team who had one of the best defenses in all of college football, a team that had one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football. But it didn't look that way when they faced a defense that was of high caliber. They kind of looked normal. And so that's what I expect to happen. I understand it's the NFL, everybody's talented, but at the end of the day, I have more faith and more trust in this Charger defense than I do versus a team who hasn't been up under the pressure that the Charger defense will bring.
Jim, when you look at this Charger offense against the Pats defense, I've talked a few times about them needing to be not perfect, but they can't have a ton of mistakes. So obviously I agree with KB. The calling card for this Charger team, the backbone and how they're going to win this game is defensively. But that being said, the offense has to show up as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the offense, you got to get points on the board. I mean, that's the name of the game. But to go back to the Pats for just a second, that unit is going to feel some pressure. Yeah. This is at home. You're in the playoffs, and wow, you've overachieved, and people are talking smack like us. Oh, you haven't played anybody. They are going to feel some pressure when they come in there. They know the Chargers are a bunch of hitters, and I think that the early going in this game may tell the tale. I think if you come in there and you punch them in the mouth real quick and get them back on their heels, you might keep them on their heels all day, especially if you can run the ball effectively.
Here's a big stat for you guys. We don't talk a ton about the wagering other than when we talk about Prize Picks, but I always like to get into these trends, and I want to do this real quick too because I don't get to do this very often.
You got a new trick, Pete?
Yeah, a little drum roll there. The Chargers 3.5 point underdogs, as I said. But the Pats have racked up a 12-5 ATS record this year. But here's the stat for you. Over the past 7 years, teams that have won more than 70% of their games ATS are 3-11 ATS in the postseason. So that bodes well for the Chargers. I think that's a number I like there, that, yeah, these teams that play inferior opponents and cover the spread and take care of their business, when they match up against a stout defense or a stout team in general, they struggle a little bit. So I like Jim. Daniel brought up a comparison to last year's postseason run, which was very short for the Chargers. When they were playing well, they had a good season. They came into that game against the Houston Texans and faced a defense that they didn't know what to do with. And he said that kind of feels like the same makeup of this Patriots team. Good offense, third in the league, 379 yards on average, 58 touchdowns, but their defense is not all of that. And the pass rush on the Chargers is going to be weak, but more than anything, I feel like this defense is going to come and make life difficult for the Patriots and Drake May.
Yeah, that's got to be the goal. Is to get after them. They're feeling pressure all by showing up at the stadium. They're going to feel it. And then, again, you get knocked around a little bit right here in the beginning. I think that's going to make all the difference in the world. Chargers need to play from ahead. We don't like to play catch up. We want to make them play catch up. We want to make that young quarterback who's been very successful this year, but against, what kind of defense? And if Justin Herbert doesn't have to run for his life the entire day, we might be able to get some points up on them and get them back on their heels, which is, I think, the angle you want to go attack these guys.
Yeah, I think that you hit the nail right on the head, JD. This defense has to come out and knock Drake May off of his pivot. Mm-hmm. You have to come out and you have to rattle him and never allow him to get comfortable. And I think as a first-year quarterback going into your first postseason, one thing that you don't want as an offensive coordinator is for your young guy to feel uncomfortable. The best thing that you want and that you're hoping for is for him to get in a rhythm and feel comfortable early on. And so the Charger defense has to come out. Mentor has to draw up pressures. Listen, I want this to look like a Rex Ryan game. I want to see guys blitzing from the bleachers, blitzing from the booth if you have to. Bringing guys from different areas. Really make this young guy's eyes work. Really make him have to locate guys, go through his first, second, and third read, and hopefully never get to him. You have to do things with the defensive front. You need stunts. You need TEs, ETs. You need Viking. You need all these different stunts to disrupt timing with his receivers. And so you said it correctly, Jim. You got to make this guy uncomfortable. You got to bring pressure, bring it often, and make him uncomfortable.
What's the likelihood, KB, that the Pats, potentially dial up a little bit more simplistic game plan for Drake May because of his inexperience in the postseason, like we saw against the Giants?
You don't change. Whatever you've done thus far has worked, and it's worked very well for Drake May. So I would not handcuff him going into a game like this. I would not, because if Drake May is clearly a smart player, right? And if I'm a player and I know what the game plan has been for 17 weeks, if we get into this spot and now I see, well, why doesn't this look like it looked in the regular season? Now your doubt may creep into me. Now I may feel some sort of way about, well, you don't really have you don't have all that much belief in me if this is the route that we're going down, that pressure's on it. So you don't change who you are. You be exactly what you've been that's gotten you to this point, because what's gotten you to this point is the reason why you've been successful.
Ain't broke, don't fix it. KB, that's exactly what you're doing, sitting there in that hotel lobby. Man, who cares who can hear you? Like I was telling him, Jim, before the show, I always felt insecure about sitting in a hotel lobby because I'm loud, and I'm like, who am I going to offend, and who's going to hear me being loud? And KB's like, I don't know these people.
At all. Listen, I'm offensive, and I love being offensive. Be offended by me, okay?
That's what got you here, and you're still doing it. I love it. All right, we're going to take the first break. When we come back, I want to talk about the running back game and compare these two young running backs, Omarion Hampton and Treveyon Henderson. Treveyon, there you go. Thank you. Because they're pretty similar, and they have, you could compare these two guys kind of equally as to the seasons they've had. So we'll do that after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. where you find David and Daniel Monday through Friday with the Locked On Chargers podcast, breaking down this team in depth. We come in after the games and once during the midweek to give you the squad show version of what is happening with the Chargers, and we're all very excited to get ready for the playoffs. So we'll come back and talk about the running game right here on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. All right, today's episode is brought to you by, of course, FanDuel. How could it not be brought to you by FanDuel? I mean, the postseason is all about making the games more interesting, and with the wild card round here, FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to bets that you like the most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. You make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. Profit bigger? Sign me up. Visit FanDuel.com or you go to their website and use the app, I should say, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game. All right, Chargers getting ready for the New England Patriots. One of the things we've talked about all year long, Chargers and prime time, is a friendly matchup. What's the number, KB? 5-0 or 6-0?
It might be just 6-0 now.
Yeah, I think
5-0?
it's 6-0 after the last one.
Yeah.
Had a heck of a season playing under the spotlight. Now the playoffs are always a spotlight, but correct me if I'm wrong, a 5 o'clock game versus a 10 or a 1 o'clock game is more prime time. So hopefully that bodes well for the Chargers as well. When we look at this running game, Omarion Hampton averaging 60 some, what is it? Let me get the exact number for you. 60.6 yards per game. Treveyon Henderson, 53.6. Now, Treveyon finished the season with 911 yards. Omarion finished with 545, and that comes after missing 7 games. So, KB, who's the better rookie running back?
They both bring something different to the table, both unique in their own right. Both of these dudes are talented. I had the opportunity to watch Treveyon up close and personal while he was at Ohio State. The kid is absolutely lightning in a bottle. He's a playmaker. He's a guy that can make something out of nothing. And Omarion Hampton is that guy too. We've witnessed that on this level. Both of these guys have been successful. So to say who's the better running back, time will tell. Right now, both of these guys are finding their way, figuring their way out in this league. And both guys have been guys that have contributed to their teams and to their team's success. So, time will tell who the better back is. I just know we better have the better back come playoff time, come the playoff game.
All right, Jim, here's a stat you can chew on. Which one of these numbers is more important? Treveyon, 5.1 per rip. Omarion, 4.1.
I don't know that that's all that significant. I mean, again, you have to peel the onion and against what defenses did he do that? What I want to bring up is
4.4. Kamani is 4.1. So 4.4 versus 5.1. Pretty close, right? That's almost negligible stat number.
I think the Chargers are going to see a heavy dose of two-headed running back monster to begin this, because they're going to try and run the ball in the Chargers. Chargers at times have looked like they don't handle a run very well. And if you got two different guys, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, he's the forgotten guy now because Treveyon is done so well, but Ramondre Stevenson, put up pretty good numbers too, especially for a second back.
He's a guy.
Yeah. And you don't really know when they put him in there. Oh, it's not just relief, just to give Treveyon a blow. I mean, he really does get the ball. He really can do something with it. Same thing on the Chargers side. Kamani Vidal, when he gets in there, they need to make sure that they put him in situations where he can be successful, so that's what the Patriots see is the Chargers being successful with both of their backs too, to make that, more of a complication on what they're doing. And that's when, Justin Herbert pops in there and does his thing. But, I'm concerned about them establishing a running game against the Chargers. Play and keep away, keep the ball away from Justin Herbert, and run the ball at the Chargers' soft run defense.
Chargers 11-1, guys, when they run the ball 25 times or more.
I was gonna add on. I was gonna ride Jim's coattail. I hope the Chargers establish a run game. I hope we actually commit to the run and stick with it, because that's going to be crucial through this playoff run. The teams that go on and have great postseason success are teams that play defense and run the football. And so, in my opinion, the Chargers have to commit to the run. Now, if the pass is working, that's great. But you still gotta have it. You still have to have a run game, and I hope that Greg Roman commits to it. Hope he sticks with it, and doesn't let the flow of the game determine how he calls the game. Stick with your game plan. If your game plan is to run the ball, stick with it. Don't shy away from your game plan. Just do what you came to do, and be who you plan to be.
KB, when you look at a winning streak like the Chargers had prior to the Texans, 4 in a row, Raiders, Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, as a fan, that feels like an eternity, right? Like, wow, they're rolling. They've got this figured out, right? As many people that are cooler than me like to say, they've got it on lock. Then they lose to the Texans because they just stepped in it, right? Yeah. How big does that 4-game streak feel as a player? Like when you've got it going like that, I mean, are you guys just 10 feet tall and bulletproof at that point?
It feels good. Don't get me wrong. It feels better than losing 4 in a row. You know what I'm saying? So it's an absolute great feeling. But in all reality, you're not really tuned into it. You're so much focused on the moment and the task at hand. Obviously, you know that you won the last game. You know you're on a streak, but you're not really paying attention. You're just trying to stack one more. And all that is building confidence, not only in yourself, but it building confidence within the coaching staff, confidence with the players, confidence in the players, believing in the coaching staff, and the coaching staff believing in the players. And it's a mutual and beneficial relationship when you win football games.
Yeah, it doesn't compare to like the Texans and Broncos run at the end of the season, but it's nice. And Jim, I look at that Texans loss. I used to say this a lot about Kentucky basketball. I'm a Kentucky basketball fan, and when they would lose in the SEC tournament, invariably they would go into the big dance and play better, because that was kind of a wake-up call for them. I feel like that Texans loss could be very appropriately timed, right? That it came around right when they needed it to, and then they had that bye against the Broncos. A lot of times it's how the cookie crumbles and where the ball bounces, and that, to me, I think the fact that they absolutely laid an egg could be beneficial to them. What do you think?
Again, I'm not all that upset with that game. You take away those 2 stupid home run balls, and the defense played an incredible game. I mean, yeah, I know you can't take that away. That's what happened in the game, but I'd love to face them again in the playoffs. Give me the Houston Texans. Let's have a rematch. I'd love to see that.
No thanks. I'll pass on that. I'd rather have the Jags. I know KB wants the Jags again.
You said no thanks. He said, no, thanks, me.
No, thank you. That defense is just too much. And then you just think back to last year.
That rush. That rush is crazy.
Yeah, I know. It'd be a heck of a game, but I'd rather have the Jags if we're talking matchups.
The Texans aren't a good matchup for us.
No, and the Jaguars are frauds. I'll say it.
They are. That was.
You're going to see the Jaguars in the Super Bowl. Write it down.
The Jags was one of the teams. They're a home dog against the Bills. That's going to be a game.
Bye. One and done. You watch.
Jim, are you hoping or you believe it?
I believe. I'd put money on that. Ooh. There's no way Josh Allen lets Trevor Lawrence get over on him. No way.
You booking that with Prize Picks, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's going to be an interesting one for sure. Yeah, it does. It is surprising when you look at this AFC seedings that the Bills are a 6 seed, right?
Is that a scarier 6 seed?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want him. That's a tough out. I would not want to.
Very tough out.
Yeah. So the Chargers again coming into this one as 3.5-point dogs. I like that as well. That plays to the look. It's just from a game standpoint, it's good, and from a betting standpoint, I like the hook. I like all of this. The Chargers here's another thing that I think plays into their hands a little bit. The last time they won in the playoffs, 2018 season, the game was in 2019, January 6th against the Ravens. They went on the road. and beat them, then lost to the Patriots 41-22. Kind of got punched in the mouth in that divisional round game. But winning on the road, East Coast, cold weather, the last time they got a win, they're familiar with it. The last two losses in Houston, that's an indoor stadium, and in Jacksonville where it's warm. So maybe there's something to be said for playing East Coast cold on the road. I don't know. It doesn't seem to make any sense, and maybe that's why it's could be beneficial for them. KB,
it's odd that you say that because I'm thinking back to that Kansas City game. I don't think the Chargers have hit as hard as they were hitting in any other game than in that game. I mean, that was a cold weather game, and so the cold reveals something about you as a player because a lot of guys don't want that contact. A lot of guys don't want to get hit, and a lot of guys don't want to hit. And so for this Charger team, again, this is an opportunity for you to go out there, break somebody's will, test somebody's power, see if they are who they say they are, and ultimately reveal them to themselves. So I like it. I'm for it. I love the way that we performed again in that Kansas City game, cold. I like it. Again, this defense.
On your question, can you tell when somebody don't want to get hit? Do you know?
Absolutely.
Can you tell?
Absolutely. Body language tells it. The way they come in to make a tackle tells it. The way they stand and wait for somebody else to come make the tackle tells it. Listen, there's a lot of tell signs about a guy that doesn't want to play in cold weather. A lot of tell signs.
That guy, right? You go right after that.
Listen, we played Kansas City when I was playing for the New England Patriots. It was a kind of a cold night, but all week, Bill Belichick and the entire coaching staff was preaching that these guys can't tackle. These guys can't tackle. Most guys in cold weather can't tackle. They don't want to. And so if I'm the Chargers on offense, I'm going at them. I'm going to be Omarion Hampton, physical. Kamani Vidal, physical. Even the receivers. Quentin Johnston, you're a big body. Get physical with these DBs. Like, make them question whether or not they want to tackle you because that's how you break tackles and expect not to be tackled. Expect the guy just to come in and try and hit you, not really wrap up and make because he doesn't want to. So I like this. I like this matchup in a cold weather.
Yeah, when you guys got guys like Derwin James and Denzel Perriman, Deion Henley, Tui Apoloto, those guys to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem like they will thrive on that sort of scenario. Cold weather, not afraid of,
Tony Jefferson, throw him in there.
Jefferson, yeah. These guys are just, tough, hard-headed defensive football players that don't seem like they're afraid of anything, especially some cold weather and a little bit of wind. They're like, bring it on. Let's go.
When you got a guy like Khalil Mack, whose career, the second half of his career was spent in Chicago, you know what I'm saying, or spent out there in Chicago, you have an absolute psycho in Derwin. You have guys that are built, prime, prepped, and ready for this. So I expect those guys to take the leads. I expect those guys to set the tone when it comes to the physicality of this game. Set the tone and never play underneath the standard that you set.
All right. After this break right here, we're going to talk about a comment from Not W Martian Mulatto, who has no faith in two guys on the Chargers.
Okay, Mulatto.
He has no faith in two guys on the Chargers that I don't understand. So we'll talk about that.
Google was bringing the heat here a minute ago. I saw that.
It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real, managing your finances can feel overwhelming at times between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out all your money where it all goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control, and who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? Sometimes you just say, oh, it's fine. Head in the sand. Not a good philosophy. That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I feel like I'm on top of my subscriptions and whatnot, but every time I see this commercial, I'm like, I wonder if I have subscriptions that I'm not using that I am paying for. So I might have to employ the services of Rocket Money. It also it has the automatic transaction categorization is a game changer. You can finally see exactly where your money is going each month. This is a huge thing. Sometimes you feel like I'm not spending all that much money on food delivery services. And then you go back and look and you're like, wow, that's a lot. So that's a huge Very helpful feature in Rocket Money. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster this year. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right. Chargers getting ready for the Pats. Sunday night football. That's going to be good. So where is my guy, not W. Martian?
Do you even have to show his comment?
He says, well, in a nutshell, he says, I have no faith in Herbert and no faith in Dicker. I'm picking the Pats. I'm like, of all the guys to have no faith in,
Of all the guys.
those two guys, really? I mean, there's a lot of other guys you could have no faith in, but yeah, Dicker had one bad game. He missed an extra point and a kick from 20 yards. Where does that come from? I mean, that's the what makes you have no faith in Dicker? One bad game, really? I don't know.
It's a long-time Charger. It's a long-suffering Charger fan, I'll bet.
Are you getting fans over there, KB?
Huh?
Are you getting oogled by fans?
No, I struggle, right? Because there's certain things that I want to say at certain times that I'm like, you know what? You shouldn't say that. I'm gonna put it this way. Some people just like to hear themselves talk. Some people just want to see their name in the comment section.
That's fair. He says, I haven't seen anything from them in the playoffs. Okay, that's fair. But at some point,
to that point, okay. If Herbert's last showing in the playoff, in the last playoff, wasn't impressive at all, so I'll give you that. But what calls for that with Dicker?
Yeah. No, he's been fine. I agree with the conversation we've been having over the past couple of weeks about Justin Herbert. At some point, you have to feel confident that he is going to do it. He's going to turn things around and become a postseason quarterback, right?
Yeah.
As you pointed out, it took the same amount of time for Peyton Manning to win his first postseason game. And there was probably people then saying Peyton Manning's a fraud. He's not the real deal, blah, blah, blah. Well, he proved all those people wrong. And I think Justin Herbert is going to do the same thing. I mean, you can't watch Justin Herbert and go, he's a fraud. He's not a good quarterback. You can't do that. There's just no way. Yeah, he's had some bad games in the postseason.
What quarterback hasn't had a bad game? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Look, it's a tough game. It is a do or die type of situation.
It's a team game too.
Team game. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into winning in the postseason, and you can't put it all on Justin Herbert. He did have 4 interceptions, but I would look at those. And generally speaking, I think across the board, when Justin Herbert throws interceptions, they are tipped frequently. I know we spent weeks during the middle of the season going, what is going on with that? How do we keep the defensive linemen from tipping Justin Herbert balls? It was a regular thing. And I feel like it's not, correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, but what you've seen from Herbert this season, when he throws an interception, do you feel like that was just a bad pass? No, it's sometimes a tipped ball or a very good play by a defender. Or most notably, like if you go back to the Houston game last year, it was him just trying to make lemonade out of lemons, right? He was trying to make something out of nothing in that game, and consequently he had to throw some bad balls.
You know, it's surprising lack of support that he gets from the offensive line. I mean, running for his life all the time. God, it's shocking that he doesn't make more decisions. But instead, it's the other side. He's not the problem. That's not what we're concerned about. We need to get him some protection when he needs to throw, but we need to be able to run the ball effectively, and that means with both feature backs in this one. But now's not the time to give up on Justin Herbert. Now's the time for him to start stepping into his own. This is the time to step up and be the man. Here's a chance to exercise the ghost.
That's a good point. This guy's like, where is Herbert's good game in the playoffs? There isn't one, but that doesn't mean he won't have one.
Yeah, like we're putting a guy in a box as if that's all he's ever going to be. We got an opportunity. We'll see what he does in this game, but you can't pigeonhole to God to what he's done in the past. You have to give a guy an opportunity to grow. You have to give the guy an opportunity to show improve. And so, we'll have this conversation after this game. You know what I'm saying? And the conversation will be solely based not on what we think or what the fans think. It'll be solely based on what Justin Herbert brings to the table and how he performs. I, for one, expect Herbie to come out and perform and have one of his best games that he's had so far. A week off, more time to heal. guys to get healthy on the offensive line. But the past is not meant to be a place that you can't go from. So let's not, as a fan base, keep Herbert locked into a box. Give him an opportunity to grow and step out of that box by performing well.
Yeah, I look at this and I always come back to when the fans are calling for a coach's head or the quarterback is not good in the playoffs or whatever. I always say, well, if not him, then who, right? Like, what if it's not like, let's right now enjoy the fact that the Chargers are going into a playoff game after an 11-win season, with a real chance at winning this game, right? And I think that's the thing we should be focusing on and appreciating, and not trying to find reasons why they're not going to win. And they might very well get kicked in the teeth. Who knows? I feel like they've got a good chance. I'm not going to be surprised if they win this game. Last year, I didn't have that feeling. I was like, they pull this off, I'm going to be really, really surprised. I do not feel that way today heading into this game. And I think we should at least appreciate and enjoy what we've got. And Herbert's a good quarterback. He hasn't shown it in the postseason, but no better time than now to flip the script and start becoming a postseason quarterback.
Yeah, got to remember part of that line is about what Vegas is trying to make money on. This is not necessarily 100% what they think is going to happen. It's how they're trying to coax people to one side or the other and make the money line. They're trying to make money here. They don't give a crap about who wins what. So when you're looking at that line, Vegas is not necessarily saying, yeah, the Patriots are about that much better. I mean, what is the gambling thing that home field advantage is worth 2.5, 3 points?
3
so
points.
Saying the game is almost a toss-up as it is, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I look at that and I say, look, let's be fair. Vegas knows what they're doing, right?
Vegas is the devil.
Amazing how that number comes right up to it. They're going to miss it this time. You get right down, it goes to overtime, and then it hits that number. It is amazing how they do that. I don't know how they do it.
Vegas got some voodoo going on somewhere.
Serious. Right down to half a point. Are you kidding me? The hook is the difference. How many? I mean, all the time.
So here's another thing that is out there. Let's talk about it after the break. This kind of right in the face of what I just expounded on as to how we should be happy with what we got and not worry about the future. But there is a rumor floating out there about one of the coordinator positions being on the hot seat in spite of being in the postseason. So we'll talk about that after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Pete Fox, Kenjon Barner, Jim Daniels on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by Ultimate Quarterback. The draft picks positions are set, and so many teams are looking for their franchise quarterback. Ever wish to become a pro quarterback, getting drafted first overall by your Chargers? Well, now you can. There's a mobile game just for you called Ultimate Quarterback Football Legend. In this game, you step into the cleats of the number one draft pick quarterback, and it's your job to lead your team to greatness, to help your team turn your losing franchise into a dynasty. This is the number one quarterback career mode game on the mobile app stores, and it introduces the most realistic environment with full career controls. Ultimate Quarterback is totally free to play, has no ads, and works 100% offline. Perfect for when you want to sneak into a quick game or two on the go. Just head over ultimate-quarterback.com. It's the ultimate-quarterback.com, or search Ultimate Quarterback in the App Store. As we got something special for you guys, use the promo code Locked On, all caps, in the game store to get a free boost at the start of your career. Ultimate Quarterback Football Legend, QB1, it is your legacy. All right, so we had Black Monday kind of has happened all week long. One guy got fired on Sunday, and then a couple on Monday. Yesterday, Mike McDaniel got fired in Miami, and as KB pointed out, it wasn't just him. They fired everybody. It's like, so with Mike McDaniel being available, there are people out there, speculating that the Chargers might be better off with him as their offensive coordinator, as opposed to Greg Roman. When you look, KB, at what this team has done offensively, how do you feel about that? Is that kind of like, let's not go there right now, or that's interesting?
Yeah, I mean, we can go wherever we want to go, right? We aren't playing, we aren't in the organization, so we can look at the other side of the coin. Do I believe that McDaniels is a much more innovative play caller offensively than Greg Roman? I do. Do I believe that he could potentially do something more with Herbert? I do. But I also want to be fair to Greg Roman and the fact that we've been playing musical chairs with the offensive line the entire season. We've been trying to get Justin Herbert protection, and it's hard to develop a game plan and go with that when your quarterback is under fire the way Herbert has been under fire. So you can develop a game plan and expect to go into a game and execute it, but sometimes you're just getting your head kicked in, right? So your offense doesn't look the way that you desire it to be, or doesn't look desirable to the fan base or to us. And so I want to be fair to Greg Roman and understand that what this offense went through this season and what they were still able to achieve, right? That's not something that should be overlooked, because despite everything that has happened, this team has done successfully well and been successful in a lot of ways. So, you can play with that a little bit. You can peek over the fence, but also remember the grass ain't always greener on the other side.
Jim, as you can see in the comments, a lot of people are like, Harbaugh's too loyal. He's too loyal to Roman.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel's not a Harbaugh guy. What's your thought on the potential of that from that perspective, from the standpoint that, Harbaugh, like, Roman's his guy, like he brought him with him. So,
yeah. And he had an awful season with offensive line, so hard to tell really what they were capable of, because you took away their one of their very best pieces on that offensive line, a Pro Bowler in Joe Alt, that would have changed everything dramatically. We see that all over the league when these guys go down, just how important that is. So
lost both their tackles.
Yeah. And McDaniel of course people are talking about that. That's a sexy pick. Like, again, an exotic play caller, a smart guy who is probably going to be better off calling just plays instead of having to worry about managing the entire team, which is the case for a lot of people. Your head coach got to be a PR guy more than anything else.
What about this option? Jesse Minter might be on the road to a more lofty position at another team, because he's had a fantastic run here with the Chargers. We've been hearing about that since last year. John Harbaugh's out of a job. He's a defensive guy, right? Could it be Jim and John Harbaugh in LA? How cool would that be?
Absolutely not. that is a dream that we can all dream. But that will listen, I was tuning in to sports the other day. There's 7 teams without a head coach right now, one of them being the Baltimore Ravens. There were 7 teams that reach out to Harbaugh about being their head man. So that means that there was somebody that has an active head coach in place now that is calling a check and see, hey, would you be willing to come here? So listen, we could have these conversations and we could play this game, but it'd be nice. But no, that's just hopeful wishing.
Yeah. Crazy that he got fired at all, I think. The field goal goes through and they're in the playoffs with a home game, and he's fine, right? You miss a kick and you're out.
I sure don't want that Ravens job, though. You want that Ravens head coaching job now? You want to step in after that guy?
After him?
And manage
after 18 years of success?
Running back and that bad defense? I don't want any part of that.
Yeah, that was a crazy fire. But players get coaches fired more often than what we like to acknowledge. So I think Andrews can take a piece of that pie. Dropping that 2-point conversion last year. The kicker this season can take some of that. Lamar not being able to stay healthy in some of these instances. So the players got to kind of take this one on, because I know I was there in Baltimore for training camp back in 2020 before I went to not the New England Patriots, but to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I know how that locker room feels about Harbaugh. I know how much that locker room loves him. I know how much he loves those players. I know what he means to that team and to that organization. So, the players got to take that one a little bit.
There's an old adage when it comes to coaching, and I think it doesn't know any bounds, football, baseball, basketball. Coach, you got about 10 years. before everybody is tired of your gas. From the guy who parked in your car when you roll up to your, franchise quarterback. You got about 10 years. After that, everybody's tired of hearing the same old gas. You're kicking the same old can, and it just doesn't work. And you just need a change of venue. I believe that's the case with coaching, much more so than players.
Do you think that's the case with Harbaugh?
It's a curious. I mean, he won a Super Bowl for him. It's a curious fire, we think. I mean, I was surprised.
I think,
if you just think you need to reshuffle I don't think that's what they need to do, but apparently they did.
I think you got to be grateful for what you have and thankful for what you don't have. And when you have a coach like Harbaugh, who's giving you 18 seasons, and of those 18, he's giving you 11, 10 plus win seasons, you don't finding a good coach is hard, right? And so even as we're talking about replacing Greg Roman as an offensive coordinator, a lot of the fan base may not like what they've seen from him. But you got to understand, it's not easy to find a good coach. It's not easy to find a good coordinator. It's not easy to find a guy who's been to the top of a mountain and knows what it looks like and knows how to get the job done. So as an organization and as a fan base, you got to be mindful of what we're asking for and as an organization, what you end up doing.
Yeah, he's only the third Baltimore Ravens coach, just like the Steelers. They've had 3 coaches over the last long stretch of time. It is interesting and surprising. And you're right, KB. I think he'll be the first one, plucked out of the Ferris wheel or merry-go-round as far as head coaches. I'm surprised he hasn't been hired already, right? Kind of a thing.
Right. Pick of the litter.
Yeah, exactly. So that a little bit surprising, but you're right to a certain extent, Jim, that sometimes they just want a different voice. They want to change things up, and doesn't always work out. Like I said, if not him, then who, right? Who's the guy that you think is going to come in and save the day, right?
And the new head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, Chip Kelly. All right, everybody, welcome Chip Kelly. All right. Oh, what? Oh,
easy. That's KB's guy.
And he'd be just as surprised as everybody else, wouldn't you?
I look at that and I say, the fact that there is a tad bit of maybe is controversy the right word, rumblings about, maybe not the right sort of cohesion within the locker room and whatnot. Does that play into it at all? Because, Harbaugh's a likable guy, and it doesn't seem like he's the type of guy that has those situations surrounding him. So, but you did hear some rumblings about this guy wasn't happy and that guy was talking about that guy. And that's not the stuff you hear from winning organizations.
If you're talking from a player standpoint, guys not being happy.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, let's call a spade a spade. A lot of times you're dealing with grown men, oftentimes with the emotions of women. And there's no disrespect to any woman, but I've been in these locker rooms, and a lot of these dudes are hard to deal with. A lot of these dudes are headaches. A lot of these dudes are entitled. They're spoiled. They're brats. When things aren't going their way, they throw fits. So I would take that with a grain of salt and understand that, oftentimes these dudes just getting their feelings. I feel some type of way about that because I've seen it. It's a coach, right, curates a culture, right? He curates the locker room by who he brings in and what he brings around. But it's players that uphold that locker room. And sometimes you can have cancers within your locker room. So, again, I was there. And I don't know if something has changed from 2020 to 2025 within that locker room. But I know that was one of the most upbeat, together locker rooms that I had been in from a player standpoint. And a lot of that had to do with the way Harbaugh operates and how he interacts with that team. So, again, I would take that with a grain of salt and understand, again, a lot of these dudes are emotional and they lack emotional maturity.
Well, back to the Chargers, Jim Harbaugh has come to LA and changed the culture. And I think that is what he's done everywhere he's been. So it's not surprising that John Harbaugh does the same thing. Back to Greg Roman, a lot depends on how this game goes, right? If the offense is the reason they lose, I think it changes, his security a lot. If the offense plays well and for whatever reason they lose a squeaker, then I think he's probably fine. If they win, I don't think he's going anywhere. But if the offense just is scrambling and can't really find any rhythm, because we've said it over and over again. And anytime somebody wants to talk about the Chargers and they call, one of the things I always come around to is that the offensive game plan from Greg Roman on a week-to-week basis is just a huge, like, wow, who knows? It's very inconsistent, and that's been surprising to us all year, right, Jim? I mean, we look at it and go, what's he doing?
Well, that's part of what it calls for is you need to make adjustments every single week, depending on who you're playing, what their strengths, their weaknesses are. But again, his get out of jail free card is lack of offensive line. I mean, if you were to, he's trying to do things with a patchwork group, and that's really difficult. I mean, you need starters, you need Pro Bowlers. I mean, you want to go all the way, you want to win a playoff game. You've got a guy healthy enough to get the job done. And, if Greg Roman, if we don't have the pieces in order to protect Herbert or open holes for Hampton or whatever, is that really his fault? I mean, are we going to lay that? I think Harbaugh is more loyal than that. And regardless, unless it's a complete meltdown, I don't think Greg Roman is going anywhere. He's too loyal, number one. And number two, this isn't a fair shake. I mean, what this guy had to do to get as many wins as he got and get into the playoffs without offensive line, especially, and you hear it from week after week after week. Didn't matter who the Chargers were playing. The announcers are all talking about, well, with that offensive line, Herbert, they got the broken arm because that offensive. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody knows that's what the problem is. So I don't fired over a loss in the playoff run. I mean, that's not where you assign the blame for this one if they lose.
So two things, Pete, going back to something you said a little bit ago about the Chargers, if their offense looks decent and they still lose, he may still be there. You got to understand that everything is amplified in a loss. No matter, everything is looked at under a microscope. Everything is over-evaluated in a loss. And then to your point again about how inconsistent the play calling has been, it has been that throughout this entire season. And again, I don't know if that has something to do with the lack of talent up front on the offensive line, because sometimes the offense just looks stale. There's no excitement, there's no flash to it. And so, if he wins, he's not going anywhere. Or, you may be surprised. Even when they may say at the end of the season, we want to go in another direction, but everything's amplified. Everything's amplified in everything's amplified in the loss.
And in the lobby of the Buckhead Hilton or wherever you are. All I got to say is this. He's got to get the ball to Ladidi McConaughey more, as Keegan-Michael Key would say.
I want him to do that just for you. Just for you.
You guys have heard that story, right? About the Keegan-Michael Key bit about, screwing up football players' names.
Yeah.
And he calls Lad McConkey Ladidi McConaughey. And now his teammates call him Ladidi McConaughey. So some numbers for you as we wrap up here. The New England Patriots defense is performing pretty well this season. Total defensive yards allowed, number 8 in the league. Total that's per game, rather. Number 8 in the league per game at 295. Overall, number 4, 5,000 yards. Interceptions tied for a strong showing. 10 interceptions. That's not too many. And their pass defense yards allowed 10th in the league at 211. I feel like the Chargers got to go over that number to win this game, passing the ball, but they also got to run the ball as well. So I think the game plan has to be a very balanced attack. And but as I said, 11 wins this season when they touch the ball on the ground over 25 times. So that is a huge number that has to be focused on. And during that 4-game winning streak there, they did that. They were touching and running the ball a lot. But, all of these receivers have to show up and be clutch, be big, catch balls, and that's gonna be what the offense will need. And then from a defensive perspective, you just got to come and be who you've been pretty much all season long. As you pointed out, Jim, in that Houston loss, they played very well for 2.5, 3 quarters. I want 3.5, 4 quarters of that, like the Dallas game, really. I mean, the Dallas game, Dallas got good offense, right? And the Chargers shut them down. So that's what we need more of. And then just for the sake of making it interesting and keeping Kenjon Barner happy, if not a kick return for a TD, at least just one with some big yards.
Give me some yards. Give me some yards.
Right.
Big look like you want to do it.
Leave us in a good position.
Show up and show me that you want it.
Yeah.
All right.
Got to rattle that young quarterback, man. That's got to be the thing. Got to rattle that young quarterback. I mean, he's confident. He's comfortable, maybe too comfortable. I mean, this has got to be a thing, is to get in his face, show him things he's never seen before, and make him turn the ball over.
What'd you say, KB? Blitzes from the garage or whatever?
Blitzes from the bleachers, from the booth, from the top of the stadium. Bring them from everywhere. The locker room.
All right, that's going to do it for us here at the Midweek Lockdown Chargers Squad Show. For Kenjon Barner, 10 years in the league and 3 rings, and Jim Daniels. I am Pete Fox. We'll be back right after the game again, 5 o'clock, Sunday night football for the Chargers in New England at Foxborough to take on the Pats as 3.5-point underdogs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate the comments. Go Chargers!